On a quiet February afternoon in 1994, reporters in the small English city of Gloucester were struggling to find a story worth printing. Then, one phone call changed everything. Police were digging up the backyard of an ordinary home on 25 Cromwell Street, the home of a couple named Fred and Rosemary West. What began as a search for a missing 16-year-old girl would soon uncover one of the most horrifying stories in British history. Before we dive in, if you're into deep true crime stories that explore the darkest corners of human nature, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Now, let's step inside the House of Horrors. It was February 24th, 1994. Reporters from the Gloucester Citizen were tipped off. Police were digging behind a home near the city centre. The address, 25 Cromwell Street. The names on the doorbell, Frederick and Rosemary West. At first, no one thought much of it, but a quick search through old newspaper records revealed something disturbing. The Wests had once been accused of sexually assaulting a young girl. When police were asked why they were digging, they replied they were investigating the disappearance of the West's daughter, Heather West, who had vanished in 1987. Her parents claimed she'd gone off to work at a holiday camp in Devon. But neighbours and even the West children whispered a dark family joke: "Heather's under the patio." Detective Constable Hazel Savage, a veteran who had known Fred West for years, decided to follow up on that rumour. She discovered that Heather's national insurance number had never been used. After months of persistence, DC Savage finally got approval for a search warrant. When police arrived that day, the West's eldest son, Stephen, was home. He thought the police were wasting their time, but by the next day, the police had found human remains in the garden. And there was something even more shocking: a third leg bone. That meant there was more than one body buried beneath the ground of 25 Cromwell Street. Fred and Rose stayed up all night after the discovery, whispering, planning. Some believe they made a pact, that Fred would take all the blame and protect Rose. The next day, Fred confessed to killing Heather, but insisted Rose knew nothing. He admitted there were two more victims buried in the garden, Shirley Robinson and Alison Chambers. He even pointed out where the bodies were. But what Fred didn't say was that 6 more victims were hidden beneath the cellar and the bathroom floor. A woman named Janet Leach, an appropriate adult, was called in to assist Fred. She asked him, "Fred, are there any more bodies?" He nodded and drew a map. He pointed out 6 more victims under the cellar and bathroom. He described them with eerie nicknames: Scar Hand, Tulip, the one from Switzerland. He also confessed to killing his first wife, Rena, and a former lover, Anne McFall. Detectives realized they weren't standing on a home. They were standing on a graveyard. Throughout 1994, as more and more bodies were found, media from around the world descended on Gloucester. 25 Cromwell Street became infamous as the House of Horrors. Fred West was charged with 12 murders. Rose West was charged later, after pretending to be innocent, even while living in a police safe house. Inside that home, she never once said anything incriminating, even though it was bugged. But detectives didn't need her confession. They had enough evidence to show she was deeply involved. On New Year's Day, 1995, Fred West hanged himself in prison. He left behind 12 murder charges and a lifetime of secrets. Before his death, he hinted there were many more victims still undiscovered. He told Janet Leach there could be 20 bodies spread around, and he'd give police one a year. Was he telling the truth? We may never know. In October 1995, Rose West faced trial for 10 counts of murder. Fred's daughter, Anne-Marie, described the abuse she endured from both parents. Witness after witness told stories of manipulation, torture, and murder. After weeks of testimony, the jury found Rose West guilty on all counts. She was sentenced to life in prison, with no chance of release. In 1996, Gloucester demolished 25 Cromwell Street. Today, it's just a walkway, quiet, unmarked, and ordinary, but the trauma lived on. Fred's brother hanged himself. His daughter Anne-Marie and son Stephen both attempted suicide. The legacy of the House of Horrors continues to haunt generations. Even after all these years, many believe Fred West killed more than 12 people, victims whose bodies may never be found. He took his secrets to the grave, and Rose West, now in her 70s, has never confessed. So what do you think? Do you believe there are still undiscovered victims buried somewhere in Gloucestershire? Do you think Rose West was the mastermind, or just as twisted as Fred? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this story chilling and want more true crime deep dives, make sure you subscribe, like, and hit the bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the scariest monsters aren't found in nightmares. They live right next door. If this story got you saying, "Get the F out of here," hit that subscribe button for more.